Red language is mostly adjectives. It's not good or bad, meaning it doesn't mean it doesn't have to be a reprimand or a praise. Red language is neutral to bad as a language, and here's why. If I say a person is lethargic or successful or inattentive or impressive or effective, those are all red language. They're adjectives. I'm describing something. But what does successful mean? What does careless mean? What does impressive mean? That word, the thought, remember, words create thoughts, and thoughts are energy, and energy is what's going on with the neural pathways. So energy is at the basis of our conditioning, and you run it enough times and you get that repeated pattern. This is where the conditioning comes from. But in this case, because we're using adjectives in red language and there's no meaning behind it, the good feeling, the dopamine hit, gets attached to me, the leader or the manager or the coach. It doesn't get attached to the behavior. White language is probably the worst because it doesn't tell you anything. If I say a person is uncooperative or dishonest or uninformed or unproductive, I'm not describing what they are. I'm just telling them what they're not. Now, if you tell a person you're unproductive, immediately in their mind, they go back to all of the things that they produced. And a lot of times what they were producing was better for the organization than what you were wanting. And so they see themselves as productive. The big problem with white language, in my opinion, is that it's an indicator that the relationship is breaking down. So you want to be real careful. When you hear white language start, don't ignore it. Get into it early, because you do this enough times. Remember, every time you say I'm unproductive and I say, oh, that's wrong in my mind. That's wrong. That's not right. I did this. You're becoming a threat to the nervous system. Maybe not consciously. They wouldn't be able to verbalize that. But to the unconscious, that's not good. That's not safe. And you're creating potential toxicity. I say potential. And again, don't take my word for it. Look at it in your own experience. If you've been leading for 5 or 10 years, you know all this stuff. What I'm doing is putting some hooks with it so that you can see why it works, and then we can make choice. I think a lot of the success principles get kicked out because we don't know why they work. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. But when you understand it at the core, you actually can understand why they work. The preferred language for the leader as coach is blue language. Blue language describes the behavior. It's much more about using observable behavior, and when you have a dopamine hit attached to those words, it's actually attached to the behavior, conditioning that behavior. So observable behavior would be, I really appreciate the way you picked up that customer was a little bit agitated, and you slowed things down and took them off to the side, and you sat down at a desk and, whatever, right? Or, I noticed that you sent an email to that person. No one asked you to do that, but you saw an issue happening, and that email was perfect because you did this and you did this and you did this.